that my music heals. That's my number one goal always. I just really hope my music continues to heal. Hey, I'm Ava Max, and you're watching Billboard News.
The song is out, my oh my. Tell me why this was the one to establish this new era.
I wanted to start this era with no heartbreak attached and no man attached to it, because this is the beginning, I feel like, of me. It almost feels like my first album coming out.
That is a heavy statement, and what do you feel like this era or this new form of music is gonna say about the new you?
I mean, for the first time, I'm really finding myself honing in on like healing. I mean, it's funny, we see like healing era all over like TikTok and Instagram. I really feel like this is everyone's healing era. And so I just wanted to release a record that made everyone feel incredible and have fun and just feel like they can just go out with their girlfriends or their guys and not think about anything relationship related and just be their best selves.
I mean, you heard me, I already had it stuck in my head when you walked in. I'm like, 90s paparazzi. Like, the lyrics are so fun. So tell me, like, what was the inspiration? Was there a night you went out, or what helped you write those lyrics?
First of all, thank you. I'm really excited you like the song. We never know, like, I feel like as artists, if the song, anyone's gonna like our songs, right? So when I put it out, I just really just let it out and just let it do its thing. And the response has been so beautiful. And I don't know, like, I'm just freaking out that people are loving it. That's all I can ask for.
And then now that you know you're having fun with this era, tell me about filming the music video, because that was a good time as well.
That was fun. So I wanted something like 90s, early 2000s grunge dance, like no storyline, just a fun club vibe. And so we found this like warehouse. I just wanted it to be just about the dance. I wanted people to feel the energy, the whole video to be dance. You know, growing up, I watched a lot of Britney Spears music videos, as we all did.
Yes.
After finishing the song, I wanted it to just be about the energy and the dance and nothing else. And I think when I finished the music video and I watched it back, as I was doing it, I was a little concerned because it didn't have a storyline. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about dancing and all of that. But I want to ask you too about your style, because you're always killing it. Do you feel like the kind of 90s vibe is also inspiring where you're going fashion-wise?
I feel like it depends on my mood when I wake up. I could be in all pink one morning or in all black. It depends on how I feel, but I am more of like a comfort first girl.
So let's talk about more music that you've been putting out. Whatever got over 115 million streams. Tell me how it was working with Kygo on that track.
Those numbers still freak me out a little bit, but Kygo is such an amazing human. I've been wanting to work with Kygo for a few years now, so when he sent over the record, I freaked out. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try this out in the studio, and it worked out, and he's been amazing to work with.
You're talking about Kygo, but you also work with David Guetta as well. So like, how is it to kind of like work with these massive dance artists, and is that where you kind of see your music going?
I mean, I live moment to moment. I try not to overthink things, so when the opportunity presented itself, of course I jumped to it. And especially like the past two, when I worked with Tiesto and David Guetta, it just felt right in the moment. I visualize a lot of things, but I'm not like going to force anything. Even when I'm making a song, I'm not going to be like, okay, it doesn't feel right now, but it might feel right tomorrow. No, if it doesn't feel right in the moment for me, I'm not gonna work on it, because I live on like, you know, that feeling, that first gut instinct.
And I mean, that's so cool to me. You say it so casually, like when I work with Tiesto, you know, Tiesto, David Guetta, Kygo, these are massive dance artists. So when you've been able to have that in your career so far, is there a dance artist that you haven't worked with yet that might be on your list?
Ooh, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, I love Bad Bunny and J Balvin. Maybe go into a little bit of a Spanish genre more. I mean, I did do something with Pablo Alborán a few years back, and that was incredible, going to Spain and shooting that music video with him, and I just love the culture so much. So maybe I would love, a Spanish feature, to be honest.
Spanish Ava Max track. We're waiting on it. And then, so is dance, do you feel like your favorite genre? Is that the one that's always inspired you the most?
Yes, for sure, because I love to dance. So I've danced since I was probably 7 or 8 years old. So if I can't dance to something, it's a little harder for me to put it out, because I want to enjoy it as well, you know? But obviously we have the emotional records, but I also make them dance. So I need to figure out now, like, all right, let's get a little vulnerable and maybe just sit on this, just sit with this one. Maybe later in the year I'll release something slower, maybe.
But no, I mean, we love to see you dancing. Is that something that you think about when you're recording? Like, do you think about the stage, the choreography, and kind of like where you want to go with that?
Always, every song I make, I visualize it first, and I'm like instantly seeing it or not. With My Oh My, I actually saw some of the dance in my head. I choreographed it with a choreographer friend that I worked on it with, but I choreographed a lot of that myself. I mean, I love to choreograph a lot of my moves.
That is awesome. I don't think I knew that. So were you in dance like your whole life? Like, did you take dance as a kid?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist though. Like I dabble in editing in my music videos. I really have my hands on everything, or else I don't feel like it feels like me, and also my vision doesn't come across. So I kind of take the extra time on everything, which is a little exhausting for me, but in the end is so worth it, and I love it.
So what will you feel like in your career is the part you are most excited to do? Is it the recording, the dancing, the performing? Like, which one gives you the most excitement?
Performing, but making a record, of course. But if I had to put it in order, there's nothing like being in front of a crowd and hearing them scream the lyrics and dancing to your music and feeling that energy back, that exchange of energy is just so exhilarating and incredible that I can't even express the feeling properly, because it's just so, it gives me life when I'm on stage. I feel like I'm gaining years to my life, which sounds crazy, but I feel like I'm also doing the same back, so it's like, beautiful experience.
Oh, that is beautiful. And then of course with pop stars like yourself, I feel like a lot of times they're compared to other people. Like you have Tate McRae going through the Britney Spears comparisons right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some ways, I feel like you kind of escaped that. Do you feel like you've been compared to a lot of people, or are you in your own lane?
I think none of us escape that, you know, as artists. I've been compared to a lot of people in the beginning, but I think it always falls off, you know, the consistency is everything. So if you stay consistent as an artist, like, honestly, if anyone's watching this and they're a new artist, just know that like that will fall off. You just have to keep going, and like the hardest thing to do, I think, is be consistent and keep going, but that's the most crucial thing.
And I mean, you have been consistent, so who would you say are some of the artists that did inspire you to be who you are today? You were talking about Britney Spears, and that made me think about like, oh my God, I used to record every music video and learn choreography. So I'm glad to hear somebody else did that too.
I mean, it wasn't just Britney Spears, it was Destiny's Child, then obviously like when Beyonce went and did her own stuff, like, I mean, it was everyone growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was so inspired at the time. My eyes are glued on the screen, on the computer.
And then you said, you know, you've been consistent. So since 2018, when you've kind of been like on the scene in such a big way, what do you think has changed the most about you?
I'm a little bit more carefree, although growing up, I've always been like, whatever, I don't care what anyone thinks of me, and I'm kind of an out of the box. I was like that as a kid too, person, and in school, I didn't care what people thought, and I did weird things. But it's gotten to the point now where I'm just like, it's expanded to a place where like, I found myself, and also still, I keep a bubble around me. I don't let negative comments get to me, and I think that's super important. Mental health is number one for me. Whatever I do, mental health is number one.
And is that easy to do? Like, I can't imagine, like even like when you're avoiding comments or feedback on like an album or a post even.
Nothing's easy, right? Everything takes work, it's a habit. I've been trying to change little things every day, so like maybe not read them every day, maybe give a little space with me and my phone, you know, a time limit, because it does get to me, I'm human, right? But I also am like, you know, people will talk bad because sometimes they want attention. And I look at it that way, and it helps me when I read something bad.
Well, listen, I don't think you're gonna be hearing a lot of bad stuff because My Oh My is a bop, okay, girl?
Thanks.
Now, let's talk about, like, let's rewind and go back to Sweet But Psycho.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho.
Like, take me to that time period, and how did it feel when that song was like everywhere and you were like, oh wait, I did it.
That was a crazy feeling. I remember being in this massive sprinter. I think I was in Finland. And yeah, it was.
Why were you in Finland?
Because the moment Sweet But Psycho took off, it went #1 in a lot of countries in Europe first. So Sweden, Finland, Norway, it went #1, and I had to go over there, overseas. Actually, it was my first time going over to Europe. I had never traveled really.
Wow.
I was a studio rat. I lived in the studio for like 10 years. But after that, I got to travel the world and see my fans and also promote my first song, Sweet But Psycho. And I think when I heard it for the first time, I was in the Sprinter, right, with everybody. I heard Sweet But Psycho on the radio for the first time, and I remember like crying because I was like, this isn't real. Like, I almost like, is it imposter syndrome? Or I felt like almost like it wasn't real.
That is so cool. And did you feel that song was special? Like, did you know that was the one that represented you the best?
Yes, because I am sometimes sweet and a little psycho.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
And then you also got to work on the Barbie soundtrack, so that had to be really cool. It was such a cultural moment. So how was that?
Ooh, okay, so when I got asked to do a song on the Barbie movie, I jumped up so high, I almost like hurt myself. I like almost fell. I was freaking out.
Whatever you want, baby, choose your fighter.
I mean, who doesn't love Barbie? And they're making it with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, obviously. So I was just like, of course I'm gonna do this. And so went in the studio. It took us like 2 hours to make, just 2 hours.
Really?
Greta heard it, Mark Ronson heard it afterwards, and they had no notes.
Oh, wow.
And I freaked out, obviously, because I'm like, how do you guys have no notes? Like, what? You don't have
Tell
any
me
notes?
something. I
What
need to
about
know something.
Maybe a word in the chorus you don't like? They're like, no, this is perfect. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. You know, Greta's a legend.
That makes me interested to know, like, at what point in the process, like, is the movie done at that point when they're asking you guys this, or do you know, like, while they're filming it?
I saw part of, like, half of the movie
Oh, wow,
before
that's
making
so
the
cool.
record. An hour before making the record, they played it on Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really exciting. I saw it, like, in the beginning stages.
And then you just also put out a new album, like just in 2023, and you were already here with new music. So how do you feel like your sound has evolved since then to now?
I mean, I was going through a lot of heartbreak on the second album. My mind was everywhere. It's so funny, a lot of people online always ask, what happened to the visualizers? What happened to this? What happened to that? I was in the middle of changing management. I was in a tornado almost of emotional trauma. I don't even know how I put out that album because I was so mentally unwell at the time that I look at that almost like just, I didn't even think about like numbers with the songs, just as like a, here you go, this is what I'm going through and this is my heartbreak album, you know? So that was a tough one. This one, I'm like, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, this is my light at the end of the tunnel. This is that album.
Well, I do want to ask you, like, how do you feel when you're going through like an emotional time like that? And obviously your fans might not know, like, cause you were saying like, where's the visuals, this, and I feel like that's something all fans do, no matter who the artist is. They like, where's the video? Where's the album? Where's the tour? They have those questions and you're like, I'm going through some stuff right now. So how do you balance that?
I mean, it's hard because obviously I filmed them, but I put out a small little chunk of all of them because I also didn't want to keep all of it from them. And I don't know, I went into hermit mode, you know? And I needed to for my mental health. And I think the response to the second album was incredible. And then going on my first world tour last year was insane. That was an experience that I'll never forget, ever. And I can't wait for the next tour.
I mean, you talked about getting to see those fans out on the road and them singing back to you. So what was some of your most fond memories from touring the world?
It taught me a lot. It taught me that just, yeah, we're all human and we all get hurt and it's okay, and to be vulnerable more, because I had a really hard time with that when I first started in this industry, because I am a very private person, especially with my personal life. Even now I'm still learning how to kind of tell everyone like a little bit of my personal life. It's hard for me. I'm just super private.
And do you feel like it's easier for you to put that in music though?
Definitely, it's like therapy.
And do you feel like, okay, so now I'm wondering, like when you're working with an artist, like a producer even, like a Kygo or whatever, do you have to get personal with them? Do you have to tell them the stories about what you're writing about? Or you still just kind of keep it to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, we talk. We sit there and talk about our lives a little bit, but I guess it's easier for me to get open with like close friends and family, but when you have to tell the whole world and be vulnerable, that's a different beast, you know? And I'm now just learning, hey, you know what? It's okay to open up a little, because everyone's going through stuff. Everyone goes through heartbreak, and it's okay.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to do that in front of the world. So we've talked a little bit about like the new music you're creating. So do you think you're creating a full body of work? What can fans you can hint at that they can expect?
I am working on an album. and it is almost done. I'm really, really excited. But I can't say much more than that.
Well, you were hinting at it on Instagram already a little bit.
Yes, what did I don't remember what I said, AM3 or something like that?
Yeah.
Or the fans said that. I'm excited. There's so much more. This is just the beginning, so.
And how do you want to evolve yourself in your sound when you think about creating it?
This album definitely has a couple records that I've style and lyric-wise and melody-wise that I've never touched on. So it's a little different, yeah.
And I mean, you said earlier that you kind of went through this dark period, or in that you feel like you've arrived at yourself, if you will. So if you had to explain yourself to somebody that doesn't know you as your new self now, who would you say is Ava Max?
That's a good question. Ava is learning every day, and she loves to, you know, I hope that my music heals. That's my number one goal always. I just really hope my music continues to heal.
Well, we're having so much fun watching you and everything you're doing, so thanks so much for hanging out with Billboard.
Thank you.